Here's my audience. Here are my note cards. All right. Animal testing has been debated for years, as it's an extremely controversial topic. According to the NAVS, which is the National Anti-Vivisection Society, titled Ending the Use of Animals in Research and Testing, which was published in 2019, approximately 60,000 dogs a year are used for animal testing, and more than 95% of the drugs that pass in these tests fail in human trials. Today, I'm here to tell you why animal testing is very outdated, unethical, and an inhumane process, and why those who advocate for it are very misled. As someone who worked in a wildlife animal rescue, I witnessed the abuse and conditions that these animals would arrive in. Seeing the state of these animals was saddening to me and led me to choosing this topic for my speech. My question to you is, why are we really putting these harmless creatures through this inhumane treatment? First, I want to talk to you guys about the history of animal testing. Animal testing has been around for longer than most can imagine. According to the PubMed journal titled Animal Testing and Medicine by Rachel Hajar from 2011, the history of animal testing can be traced back to ancient Greece, where scientists like Aristotle and Galen performed experiments on live animals to study anatomy and physiology during the 19th and 20th centuries. Animal testing became more widespread and was used to test new drugs for medical treatments. In the United States, the Food and Drug Administration, which is the FDA, requires that the new drugs be tested on animals before they can be approved for human use. According to the journal, animal rights protection organizations have been increasingly vocal in their opposition to animal testing, and the numerous nations have even established legislation to make it more humane. Despite these objections, supporters of animal testing argue that conducting these tests are essential for advancing our understanding of biology and medicine. The DEG poisoning event in 1937 and the thalidomide tragedy in the 1950s and 60s, which led to the deaths of hundreds of people and birth problems in thousands of children, are just two examples of why drug testing was a disaster. These occurrences prompted Congress to pass the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act in 1938, requiring that pharmaceuticals undergo animal safety testing prior to being put on the market. Now that I have addressed the history of animal testing, I will discuss why animal testing is not necessary nor efficient. While some view animal testing as necessary for advancement, many organizations and people advocating for animal testing to be abolished, there are several reasons why animal testing is not always accurately predict or how a drug or treatment will work in a human. And many of these reasons relate to differences in our bodies. For many years, researchers have used animals to create new medications for treatments of disease. Recent studies have demonstrated that using animals to predict human results may not always be accurate. According to the study on the problems with animal research by the American Anti-Vivisection Society in 2006, applying information from animal research to human situations can be difficult due to the difference in human physiology, anatomy, and metabolism. For instance, many medications that are beneficial to humans can be really poisonous to animals and vice versa. In addition, a lot of human health issues like Alzheimer's disease, cancer, those are species-specific and cannot effectively be represented in animals. Since high-quality animal studies still not replicate well in human clinical research, deducing the results of such studies to human patients should be done with caution. Seeing that animals aren't the most accurate to test for human medicine leads me to the next topic of what we can do to replace animal testing. In order to lessen animal suffering and increase the precision of safety and toxicity testing, alternatives to animal testing are growing in recognition and application. According to NAVS, an article published in 2020 called The Alternatives to Animal Testing, there are 3 R's, which represents the new methodology in works to replace, reduce, or refine the use of animals in existing tests. It's possible to completely replace current regulatory test methods without the use of live animals by using in vitro, which is primary cultures, cell lines, and 3D cell cultures, or even ex vivo, which is isolating tissues and organs post-mortem. And there's also in silico, which is mathematical models and computer simulations. The justification for eliminating animal testing in favor of alternative techniques is ethical and scientific, since the biological similarities and differences between humans and animals greatly limit the use of using animals and human substitutes. Additionally, using non-animal models can result in significant cost savings, and regulatory pressure is pressuring businesses to reconsider the use of animals in toxicity testing. Overall, the alternatives to animal testing provide a more dependable and humane method of safety and toxicity testing, and they should be developed and used in the future. Now that we have established the alternatives to animal testing, I will discuss the prevalent misconception that animal testing is properly regulated and carried out in a humane manner, which is far from the truth. In a video published by PETA in 2020, they used graphic footage found in a lab where animals were subjected to horrific testing and crammed into small enclosures with little to no food or space. A quote that really stuck out to me was, 94,543 animals subjected to severe pain near, at, or above pain tolerance threshold of anesthetized conscious animals. This quote and video goes to show the pain and suffering that animals must endure in the name of research. Animals used for testings are frequently made to endure severe and painful treatments that can result in both physical and mental distress. Numerous animals are kept in cramped quarters and tiny cages, which prevents them from exhibiting their natural behaviors, which stresses them out even more. Even if they survive the operation, test animals frequently are slaughtered or put to sleep thereafter. The perception that animals are subhuman and may be utilized for human advantage without consideration for their welfare is unfair through the use of animals in experimentation. Because they are more accurate and reliable than animal testing and don't use live animals, alternative to animal testing like in vitro testing or computer modeling are gaining lots of support. In the light of the ethical concerns and growing evidence on the limitations of animal testing, it is clear that something must be done to stop this inhumane act. As the speech draws to a close, it is critical to understand that using animals for research is outdated, unethical, and cruel practice that must be stopped. While it is true that animal testing has been practiced for many years, it is time to admit that it's an ineffective technique that cannot reliably predict the products of treatments and how it will affect humans. The justifications for continued animal testing are outmoded and debatable, which we must use to strive for more compassionate and practical solutions that offer a more dependable and moral means of safety and toxicity testing. As Gandhi said, the greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. Thank you. And here's my audience.